Hey guys! If you notice that I'm in the same fit as last videos because I'm both read these, so no judgment. If you are new to my channel, I am doing a series for new moms, new parents. Anyways, today we're talking about how every baby is different. Now, because I am doing the series the way that I'm doing it, I tend to ramble, I tend to rant. I will have cue cards going as I'm going along. So if I don't stay on topic with that particular cue card, it's just so that way you can have information. If you need these cue cards for whatever reason, just let me know that in the comments below. I will be happy to supply. We don't gatekeep here, okay? We share. So I'm not making money off of this, obviously. So I'd have so much more views. But I don't do this for the views. I do this because I'm hoping to help new parents, okay? So first thing is first, I was trying to use my map. Okay, every baby is different, and that's okay. Not every baby needs to be the same. I just realized my lights are on back here. It's okay. It's okay, right? If this is distracting, I apologize. I did a haul. So every baby is different, and that's okay. Okay, every baby is different. And that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. Okay. Not every baby will go with the parent's plan. Babies will not read your plan and go, oh, well, that's what mommy wants me to do. So I'm going to do what mommy wants me to do. That's not how that works. And I know that disconnect can sometimes cause anxiety. Well, I promise you, we will talk about all the things. And if I don't talk about whatever your concern is, please leave it in the comment down below. If you don't know, I'm a veteran mom, and there are other veteran moms that are probably watching this video. So we will be and help you as much as we can with whatever information you might need. Okay, the myth of the plan. Now, sometimes you'll have a plan to feed the baby. I've told this anecdote in one of my last videos where I thought that it was going to be exclusively pumping with my second, and that did not work out. And so I had to hurry up and figure out how I was going to be formula feeding a baby, because my son did not even he would take to my breast milk. Like, did not want that. He was acting like it was the most ickiest thing that he'd ever tasted in his life. The few ounces that he got, he would puke it all up. But if we gave him formula, he would eat it right up like it was the best thing he's ever tasted. And you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's because no. That's just how that cookie crumbled. We didn't bond very well either. In the beginning, and so it was very frustrating for us. It does happen, but I mean, him and I are thick as thieves. We're twin buddies now. So don't worry about it. It happens. Sometimes it takes 3 years to get to the place where you need to be. Or some situations, it can be like me and my daughter, where we're just like instant, like biggest thieves. So sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it's instant. There was nothing different that I did with my son, with my daughter, that made a difference. I'm telling you that right now. And trust me, not only do I have the experience of my own children, but I've helped my mom with my sisters, and I mean, like, help raise them. So, your sleeping plans. You might have plans of how you're going to sleep, or that the baby's going to stay in another room, or whatever. That doesn't ever, I shouldn't say ever. That doesn't always work the way you think. Some babies just do not schedule. I can tell you, my son would not, like, barely ever got sleep. I think there was times where he maybe got 4 hours of sleep total. Total, as a newborn baby. However, my daughter, firstborn, slept. I nicknamed her my little Snorlax because she would just stay sleeping. She would wake up for changes, or to be fed, and that's it. And when she got older, I would tell her, okay, it's nap time. That girl would run to the bed. My son has not taken a scheduled nap in his life. There was no, hey, let's go take a nap. No, no, never happened. Never was going to happen. So the whole idea of sleeping plans or schedules or whatever, it might not happen. Also, milestone expectations. Not every baby hits every milestone expectation at the same time. Sometimes that can mean there's something going on. Sometimes that can mean there's nothing going on. Okay? So just stick with your pediatrician. If you're concerned about that your child might have issues, ask the pediatrician. Do not be ashamed to ask questions. Hey, my baby hasn't quite done XYZ yet. Should I be concerned? That's what they're there for. Plans can always be hopeful, but they're not necessarily contracts. So, development is not linear. Milestones are ranges. I'm sorry. Hello. Milestone are ranges, not deadlines. Some babies walk early, talk late. Some babies hate tummy time. Some babies never nap on schedule, like I said. And variation is normal, not concerning by default. I will tell you, my kids had different paces, but there were some things that they were fast in and some that they just didn't do. Now, my son is autistic. For those who don't know, he's 6 now. He started talking and then stopped and was like mute for a while. Or not necessarily mute. He would make noises and stuff, but he wouldn't talk. I tried to get him for the longest time to talk. I figured he was kind of a delay because I didn't start talking until I was 3. So I figured that was probably going to be the same thing with him. I would try and get him to say cat and dog. I'm not joking you. One day, I was walking by and he was watching TV and then he goes, fire truck. And I was like, you can't say cat or dog, but you pop out with fire truck. I'm not joking you. A week later, he was saying every single one of the planets in the solar system. I didn't teach him that. And I don't know if you understand how complicated that is for a 3-year-old, not only to know all of them, but to say them in order constantly. I was flabbergasted because I'm a space girl. I love space. Like, I'm obsessed with space, but I don't have space stuff. I didn't give him space stuff. I didn't introduce him to space stuff. I wasn't pushing him in a direction. You know how some parents, when they're into something, they push their kids into something? I didn't do that with my son with space, okay? Maybe a little bit of Pokemon, not space. He just organically liked space all by himself. And I was so shocked because we found him not a poster board, but kind of like an easel. And he was going, Mercury, Venus. And I was like, he wasn't talking at all. Not words. But he was popping up with Mercury, Venus, Earth. Not what he said, Earth. But I can't believe him because, I'd say F when there's a TH too. I'm from South Sac. It happens. So I was just flabbergasted. It just happened, you know? He was a cognitively brilliant child. He was at an early age trying to figure out how things work. My daughter, on the other hand, did not care how things worked, just know that things worked. They were two different children. So some kids are very I have to figure out how this works. And some kids are I don't care. I just know that it works. And that's all that matters. My daughter is one of those kids who would figure out stuff that you didn't know. And I don't know how she figured them out. But she wasn't it's usually the kids who are curious, who are trying to figure this stuff out. She just knew how to, I don't know. It was weird. But anyway, to say that all kids are different. All kids are going to get to things different age. My daughter, that girl, she doesn't give herself enough credit for how brilliant she is, because she is brilliant. Okay, comparison is the thief of peace. Social media highlight reels, other parents' perfect routines, family opinions, and unsolicited advice. Your baby doesn't need to match anybody else's baby. Let me say this again. Your baby doesn't need to match anybody else's baby. I can tell you from experience, comparing children should be a no-no. And I don't mean the way that I was just comparing my daughter and my son. I mean, when the child is around and you're talking about the child and yada, 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 right? Oh, well, Samantha was walking at the age of 2. I don't understand why Billy's. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff is poison for a child. I didn't realize that that was happening within my family because I was a child at the time. I didn't realize that was happening within my family, and it was causing some major issues that I wasn't aware of until I got a little bit older. I would say like big kid age, but like with family members, I'm not going to point out which one, but with other family members, they in their head, we were competing. In my head, I thought we were just having a good time. I had no idea until like we got to a certain age and I was like, oh, we're getting compared constantly because I was the good kid. I was the goody two shoe. And like I was being told, oh, well, there's no way I could be that good or this, that, and the third. And I genuinely, like in my brain as a little kid, was like, well, I just don't want to be a burden on my mom. So I'm just going to behave. Where other kids around me were misbehaving, not my neighbors, I should clarify. There's certain kids in my life that were misbehaving, that were getting compared to me, and I had no idea about it. Like, there's sometimes where I can be naive about certain situations, right? I'm not the best with social awareness. So I didn't know stuff was going on. I'm just like, I'm just here to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not worried about what other people are thinking about me or whatever else until like that stuff started like really getting ingrained in me. And I was like, oh, and then I was getting in trouble for things I didn't even do. Don't even get me started on that one. Anyways, point being is that you should not be comparing children, especially children of the same age and the same family and stuff like that. Like that can really weigh on a child. So don't do that. Like it's gonna really, not only for your health, but for their health. You know what I'm saying? It's just poison. Look at me when I say this. I'm being so for real right now. Doing that kind of stuff when you're doing it in a judgmental way, and we all know where I'm talking about. I don't think I need to like coat this or put it on a wall so you guys can see it. We know what I'm talking about. When you do that, it is toxic. Point blank, period. Don't do that. It's nothing but toxic. It's not helpful. Temperament matters. Some babies are chill, some babies high needs, some are sensitive, alert, intense. So, not your baby's temperament does not equate to your parenting skills. Example again. I'm just using that as an example. I don't compare my children to each other or expect one child to act like the other child. Let me make sure. So I do not expect my children to behave the same. I never have, never will. Especially because I've seen how that played out in my life, right? So if I'm giving you an example, it's just because of that, nothing else. With my children, they had very different temperaments. They have a lot in common, don't get me wrong. A lot in common. But my daughter was like my little chill Snorlax. My son is my little hyper Speedy Gonzalez. And I realized how racist that sounds because she's Asian and that's an Asian cartoon. And he's Mexican. Well, I mean, she's Mexican too, but he's really Mexican. It's not that. It's because, running around. That kid runs around. He has autism. He doesn't need much sleep. He's like the Energizer Bunny, okay? I'm telling you, my kid is just where my daughter, she likes her nap. She likes to chill. She's more laid back. She doesn't really need to go anywhere. She doesn't really need to go do things. Like, she will, but she doesn't need to. You know what I'm saying? With her, they have very different personalities. I can I don't throw my kid. I can throw him around. Like we can wrestle, we can rough play. He's fine with it. My daughter is more of my little sensitive little bumblebee. Okay. She needs to be treated with little kitty gloves. She's very sensitive. Anything can trigger her little emotions. So she's my little sensitive sunflower, and he's my little uh bone. He he's my rough and tough guy. Like he'll come to you full force. Like I'm not even joking you. As a little itty bitty baby, this kid was like, like hitting me, and I'm just calm down there, kiddo. Okay. So the temperament, it doesn't matter. Every child is unique and beautiful, and they're gonna come out how they're gonna come out. Don't expect that you're gonna be able to wrangle them in. Some kids you can kind of wrangle in their behaviors. Some you just can't, and you just have to accept it, especially if they have autism. You're just gonna have to learn to be patient and deal with it, okay? All right. Babies don't follow the rules. Examples: they don't sleep independently, feed differently than expected, hate strollers or swings or carrier, need more contact. This is not failure, it's feedback. And what that means is that the feedback is that mom, dad, or whatever the dynamic is, grandma, grandpa, whatever, okay? I have my needs and I don't like this. I prefer to be held. I prefer this. I've heard parents complain that they have a child that wants to be held too much. And don't get me wrong, like there are things you can do to hold the child less. So I'm not suggesting to coddle the child, but listen to what the child needs, right? You have to find a balance. You have to figure out a compromise. You can also ask your pediatrician what is the best way to go about certain things if you have those types of questions, right? If you're unsure for you, sometimes it is just best to hold the child regardless of what's going on. And sometimes you do just need to put the child in a carrier or whatever. Just understand that that child doesn't like that. So you got to learn to kind of compromise, or just certain things you just have to let go of. You know what I mean? You'll figure it out. I know that sounds like super complicated, but trust me, it's a lot easier in practice than it does sound. Flexibility is a parenting skills. Adapting is not giving up. Changing your plans is not weakness. Listening to your baby builds trust. Again, goes back to what we were just seeing. Adapting to what your baby's needs does not mean you're giving up on whatever parenting style you have adopted, right? Let's say you're planning on being a strict parent. They're a baby. Let me say that again. They're a baby. You don't need to be that strict early on. Are there things you could teach them that can still be strict? Absolutely. But you have to be flexible. You cannot come in thinking you know everything and that you're going to be a perfect parent. Trust me, it doesn't ever work out. Trust builds over time. You learn your baby by living with them. Confidence comes from experience, not prep. And it's okay to course correct. All right. So when you're thinking that you know what you're planning on doing with raising, sometimes you have to course correct. And what that means is, like, let's say you're like, okay, we're doing X, Y, Z, and that's how we're doing this, and yada, 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 right? Course correct would be like, okay, this course that we're on is not right for my baby. My baby needs this. So let me do that thing instead. That's course correction. Just like if you were to get a new roommate, you have to learn the ins and outs. You have that rough beginning where you're fighting, You're not going to get along right away. You might not be able to mesh well just yet. You kind of have to relearn. It's the same thing with a baby. Let me tell you, when my littlest sister moved in with us, her and I are 16 years apart, or just about, by like a few days, 16 years apart, correct? She moved in with us when we moved back to Sacramento. And although we've lived together for most of her life, it was hard because she was like there was a huge gap of time where we didn't live together, right? So we had to relearn how to live together. Not only that, but we're in a different environment. And so you have to relearn how to live together and what dynamic works with the two of you. And so there was some rough patches here and there, but we learned to the point where we even worked together for like, I think a solid year and a half or something like that. We worked together for a while. And we worked really well. Like, there wasn't any personal feelings or any whatever, we would call each other up, hey, whatever. We worked together beautifully. I don't necessarily recommend that for everybody to work together, but her and I loved having her at work, to be honest. When to trust yourself versus seek help. The balance approach. Most differences are normal. Some concerns deserve professional input. You're allowed to ask questions without panic. If you feel the need to seek help. Do not feel ashamed to ask questions. I will guarantee you, I have been doing this parenting thing for almost 30 years. Okay, like I said, I've been helping parents since I was 9 years old. 37. Okay, been doing this for a long time. Even I don't have all the answers. Perfect example, when my child had autism, okay? The first place that we took him to, which was in Cathedral City, they gave us poor advice. They told us not to worry about it. And then I was telling everybody else, oh, don't worry about it because I trust the doctors. Okay. I was so glad that we got to move back to Sacramento because the second that we took him to his first doctor's appointment, the doctor could automatically see that he had autism, as we knew. So, having a child with whatever disabilities is completely different than having a child without disabilities. Let me say that. And in all my experience, even with taking early childhood development, because autism is still something that's relatively new, obviously I don't have all the knowledge, but I was seeking it out. I was seeking it out in every place that I could. I was reading up on that stuff. I was also using a lot of the skills that I did learn from early childhood development. I was using everything that I could pick from, and I had no problem looking at more and more and more videos. I'm telling you, like, you would think that I was a videoholic. I mean, most people spend forever scrolling on TikTok. So it's not that strange for you to go seek knowledge, for help for your child, okay? So don't feel any type of way. If you're a new parent, seek all the knowledge, okay? Don't feel like you have to stick with one or you have to whatever. And ask your pediatrician. That's what they're there for. Not only are they there to help with your baby's health, but that's a part of your baby's health is to ask questions. So do that. No shame. Absolutely none. And I think that's it for this video. I hope that this was helpful to somebody, anybody. Sorry. I hope that this was helpful. If you need any of these notes, any of these cue cards for whatever reason, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any questions that have to do with child rearing or anything of the sort, please, this is a safe place. I will be deleting any comments that I see that come off judgmental. I do not allow that here. So if you need help, ask. I have no problem helping you. I have no problem being there. Parenting can be scary when you're first getting into it. So I want to help alleviate that any way I know how. I'm a professional big sister at this point. So let me be your big sister. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
You walk in the room and the vibe shifts. Girls tremble with the wind to the these dreams sitting on your pretty little sleeves. We don't try hard, we just breathe and do achieve. People look at you, reading. I get me by the quick. Step I do, I see. And they don't know, we still they say much of me. That other in the theater. That and you shine, have the it. Leaves in the breed, old game.